It's 2 for Tuesday, an open tag started by Tom over at Knife Delights. And today I want to take a look at what would be my two favorite traditional knives to carry. Now, both of these do have something in common. They're not built 100% according to how traditional knives are built. They have some differences. They have some modern machining practices involved. They're more machine made than they are handmade, but they are both excellent knives to carry. Let's start first with the Rosecraft Briar Patch. I've been carrying this Briar Patch jack ever since they came out with it, so that's been about a month now. And I really love this knife a lot. I like trappers, I like stockmen, and in stockmen I like the roughly 3 7/8 to 4-inch size up to the full size 4 1/4 inch. Trappers, I prefer full-size trappers, but some of the mini trappers that have the Wharncliffe blade are really nice. But these knives have two very stout blades, and where they're better than Stockman is they're both full-size blades, where Stockman only has one full-size blade, and then it has two little half-size blades. Now this knife has a beautiful clip point. Look at that clip point. You have quite a bit of belly on it. Blade length, see, 2 3/4 inch cutting edge, 3 1/16 blade length. Now, one thing that's nice about this knife is this cigar-shaped handle. It's large enough, you get a very comfortable grip on it, and you can do some serious work. If you have a lot of stuff to cut up, this gets the job done without causing hand fatigue. And for the second blade, you have, I don't know if I want to call this a modified sheep's foot or possibly a lamb's foot. You have 2 3/4 inch cutting edge and a 3-inch total blade length. But this is just a beautiful blade. It's great for doing any kind of utility cuts, because you don't have to have the knife standing straight up. You can have it on a low angle where you have a lot of control over your cut. It also has that slight downward cant to the blade. And what that does is when you're cutting something, it puts it on an angle and it traps the material in there. So if you're cutting something like rope, it won't just slide off, or anything you're cutting, it brings in a little bit of shearing action. It's not just a straight cut. It's a little bit of slicing from the side, and that makes a big difference in how efficient the knife cuts. So this has been just a great blade. Then we have the Lion Steel. Let's take a look at the clip point blade on this. Beautiful clip point blade. And this one is an M390. I know there has been some stuff floating around on the internet that some of these Italian steels, specifically by Lion Steel, are run soft. Well, this is not run soft. See that bevel on there? I laid this edge way back, and this thing really slices nice. In order to reprofile this blade, I spent more than 45 minutes on a 200 grit diamond stone. I was going to make a sharpening video out of it, but it took way too long, and I didn't want to take the time to try and edit it down, so I'd never posted the video. But this deal is hard. It holds an edge for an extremely long time. So they may have had a couple of batches that were bad like that, but on the whole, they really do a nice job on their heat treat. Let's just compare it with the Briar Patch. See, very similar. A little different blade shape, but very similar blades. And here's the second blade on it. You see the similarities? Very similar blade shape. And you can see I also laid this edge back quite a bit. This knife, like I said, slices great. You have the same advantage in doing utility cuts. This one's a little smaller than the Briar Patch, with a 2 9/16 inch cutting edge, 2 3/4 inch overall blade length. The difference in this knife too is this one doesn't have the area in here with the kick, which you'll see the Rosecraft has. You have that extra area. So if you get your finger in here, it's not going to close on you. And even if you did get into a compromised position where the knife was possibly going to close, you have that there to give you a warning. It presses on your finger and you know what's going to happen. But we don't put pressure on our traditional knives that are going to cause them to close. This one has a beautiful mahogany wood. That's the Lion Steel Best Man and the Rosecraft Briar Patch. And I'll carry them both in this slip. Slip does a great job with either knife. Slides right in. And so does the Lion Steel. Very nice to carry. So you can see the similarities in these two knives. This is the knife that I always wanted from Rosecraft. Ever since they first started making traditionals, I had bought most of them, and they were all single-bladed knives except for their doctor's knife, which that's not a heavy-duty knife. You can't really count that as a multi-bladed knife. This is the first one they produced, and this is exactly the knife that I wished Rosecraft would make. And it's so similar to my Lion Steel Best Man that I love carrying. These two are it for me. These are the knives that I like to carry over anything else in my collection. Even carbon steel knives. I love carbon steel. I love watching it patina and change as I use it. But as an everyday tool that's going to do a lot of cutting and is going to be useful to me, these knives have the blades to do the tasks that I do every day. And these are my favorites. And if I had to choose only two knives out of my collection to keep, these would be the two traditionals that I would choose, because I love carrying them and I love using them that much. We'll see you on the next one.